Thank you very much, first of all, for being here today. My name is Jonathan. I'm from Singapore. Yep. I've been based in Singapore my whole life. I'm born there, got my education there, and did most of my career there as well. My talk is about Southeast Asia. I think the fact that you are in the audience today, it means that Southeast Asia represents a pretty interesting alternative markets for some of you who have got a game or a product that has got achieved certain level of success and would like to move into new markets. So first of all, a bit about myself. Like I say, I've been in the game industry for the past 15 years, and I've been publishing games, online games, PC games, client-based free-to-play titles. We were the distributor for Blizzard titles. We are also the distributor for Take-Two titles, GTA 4, GTA 5, StarCraft 2. You know, many of these titles. Essentially, we were doing a lot of gaming stuff in Southeast Asia, right? So through these 15 years, we then came to realize that there's so much experience, so much know-how that we've gathered over the years, and we want to bring more content into our markets. And that is what brought us here today. Our chairman and our CEO, Mr. Roland Ong, that you see on the left side here, he's the guy who has managed to license World of Warcraft into China. For some of you who have not, who think of China as like this huge market, right? Imagine what he did roughly 9-10 years ago. He managed to bring a top AAA World of Warcraft title into China. Just localization itself, just to share a bit, took 1.5 years. Okay? And on the right side, that's our money guy there. Okay? So he's the guy who brought us the money for us to do all these things. So what I'm going to go through, I've got 10 tips. I believe some of you who are experienced enough, some of these tips will come in useful. Some of you who thought that, you know, I kind of know that, right? It's good. It just reconfirmed that you're in the right industry. Okay, just a bit about why Asia is so good. Why Southeast Asia? You know, this Asia Pacific market is easily one of the fastest growing ones. I think if you look at all the reports that's coming out, if you're on the mailing list of Newzoo and some of the IDG, IDC, you know, you get a lot of all this data. Everybody's saying that Asia Pac, yes, is huge. It is a market that you cannot afford to ignore. Let's just zoom in into the top 6 in Southeast Asia. If you look at Southeast Asia, in a nutshell, it's about half the size of China in terms of population. Half the size, if you gather all these top 6, you're easily looking at very high growth, half the size of China. But the main difference between this region and China is that it is not homogeneous. You can't one language fits all. There's no such thing. There's no like, okay, I localized my game for China. I've done everything. I can launch into China. Yeah, you can't say the same thing for Southeast Asia. Because you're easily talking about, in order for you to maximize Southeast Asia, you need to localize it into 5 basic languages with 5 different cultural differences. Not just that, there's so many sensitivity in there. How would you set off to find all this? I'll come into that later on. This is easily a 1B revenue. We cannot afford to lose this, right? So just taking 0.1% is going to be able to keep your studio alive. And this is one key reason why you need to make sure that for whatever effort that you put into these markets is done wisely. You have the capability to maximize your effort. Because I know a lot of indie developers, we're very small, we're lean, we don't have a huge 20-man team. So whatever effort that you put in has to have ROI, has to be meaningful. We've been in this business, we've been publishing games. The most painful thing for us is to do things without ROI. Because it's not only hurt our bottom line, it also hurt our developer. They will start to lose confidence. Am I not doing the right thing? No, it's not. It's just that we're not experienced enough for us to do that. So let me begin with the tips. Number one, localize your game payment and your payment channels. Why? Can anybody tell me what this graph is about? Anybody? Very good. This is the graph of credit card penetration. Surprising? If I ask the audience today to pull out a credit card, I think maybe 90-95% of you guys will have a credit card. But let's look at Asia. Vietnam, 2%. Indonesia, 3%. Philippines, 5%. So what does this mean? It means basically if you are only relying on credit card as the main payment, you get 100 paying users knocking on your door saying that, take my money, take my money. 100 of them willing to do that, but only 3 of them is able to pay you. I think that's very silly. The ROI is really straight down. If you spend a lot of money getting the CPI, getting the installs, and not being able to monetize it, it's money down the drain. So the key markets that you see here, on the average, lower than 3%. It's quite surprising for everybody that visited our booth just now, right? Some of you in the audience have visited us. We had a very good chat. With the moment I say that, credit card penetration lower than 3%, they say, are you serious? Are you serious? But don't they have debit cards on that? No, we're talking about people who have got an ARPU of $1 to $2. So why would these people have the ability to have a credit card in the pocket? Right? And these are not small groups of gamers. These are millions and millions of gamers that's willing to put $1 paying for your game every month. So very different landscape from where you guys come from. So how do the Asian gamers pay for the games that they like to play? They have internet banking, okay? They have mobile top-up cards. In Southeast Asia, almost all the strong telco has established very good network of physical top-up cards. The same gift cards that you see in the stores here, that you see in Primera, right? The same kind of cards, okay? Except that those are cards that's meant to top up towards your mobile, towards your data charges. And those are very popular. So what we did with some of them is that we integrate with them such that their card can then be used to top up for games. It's a very simple equation. And this is the most important, prepaid cards. There are many game publishers. There are many game aggregators. These guys have distributed game-specific wallets and points and prepaid cards in all the 7-Elevens and all the convenience stores that is available for gamers to buy a single card, scratch, get the number, and put that into your game for the value to come true. So who actually collects the money? It's over the counter. You give the guy $10, he gives you a $10 card, he scratches, he put it into your game, right? So the entire equation is there. So a little bird told me that these payment methods sometimes amounts to 40% of a mobile revenue in Southeast Asia. This is true. However, for you to do this is what you will have to go through. Each time you suddenly decide that, hey, I'm getting some good traction in Thailand. The Thai people seems to like my game a lot, right? Maybe I should go to Thailand and talk to a local guy, right? Talk to a local guy and then negotiate all the payment channels and all that so that I integrate my game with them so I can collect locally. So what do? You contact them. Then you negotiate, right? You talk legal to them, you sign some NDA, you sign some agreements, you manage to reach terms, and then you learn their SDK, right? Standard, you put the two tech guys together, let them talk, let them fight down their egos, and finally they agree to work with each other, hopefully over a beer or something, and then they start learning the SDK, and then they finally integrate. You know, your game is made possible. Payment is made possible for some of these local payments. And then you test, and then you repeat this cycle for every single one of those countries that you saw just now. Through my experience, 15 years of doing this, each one takes 3 to 6 months. Easily, 3 to 6 months, right? The tech guy will tell you the integration needs 1.5 months, okay? In fact, maybe he got it done in half a week or something like that, but it's fine. He's going to need 1.5 months. He's going to test, he's going to sandbox, he's going to whitelist IP addresses, you know, all kinds of technical voodoo, and tell you that, have we trashed out the financials? Have we made sure that we're holding tax is being paid? A lot of headache. Each of it to a different market is 3 to 6 months. So it's a very big pinpoint, right? So you have to use local payment methods. But how we will do it, I will explain to you guys later. Number 2, open your mouth, ask the local folks. I mean, internet at this moment, yeah, they're full of forums, there's full of user groups, there's full of people that's willing to share. And I think generally, Southeast Asian people, you know, Asians like us, we're pretty happy to share with you guys, like what I'm doing here. All our experience, we want you to avoid those obstacles, we want you to avoid those pitfalls. So ask the right folks, because you're going to need some of these things localized. Customer service. Would you want your gamer to, send an email in Bahasa Indonesia, and none of your customer service people actually knows how to understand? Can we use Google Translate? No way. Even if you've managed to Google Translate and reply, the poor fellow, he's going to like, okay, this game is just not meant for us. Marketing and advertising. You need to localize this. Because the very same message, even you have a native guy who tells you that if you translate this to Thai, it's going to sound so comical. It's going to sound so silly. So would you want any of your marketing messages or any of your marketing creatives actually not having that local touch? So all these are very crucial factors that will affect your marketing ROI, your conversion rate, how it appears on Facebook, how it appears on Google. All this has to be localized. We all know China is tough and all that. If you look at Southeast Asia, you want to get a license for your game to go into the market, you need to understand what is allowed, what is not allowed. Well, if I want money to come back from my local partner there, do I have to bear withholding tax? What are the taxes? You need to talk to people. Payment channels, I mentioned that just now. So these are all the things that you need to localize. So ask around, don't be afraid. Number 3, localization is key. Treat localization as a method of whitewashing your product and suddenly being open to a new, fresh market. That's so sexy. The same game, right? I localize it. Suddenly, I have a new market. So how you judge whether is that market worth it or not? Because cost will come along with it, right? If you want to localize, you have got 50,000 lines of text plus graphics. You're going to spend a substantial amount of money. So what you do is do some marketing into those markets, gather some feedback, and then if those feedback are so positive, find an investor, invest into localization. Because if you do this, I had somebody visit my booth just now, very promising. He is thinking about localizing his game not only to the main languages, but also to the dialects, to the various dialects of the country. This is so sexy because immediately you stand above everybody who is just doing the norm, right? So think about it that way. We look at if you are going to target Southeast Asia with just English. These are the English-speaking percentages. Singapore, 80%, Philippines, 57%, Malaysia, 32%. So if you only go to this market with English, think about what you're missing out. Singapore only have a population of 5.5 million. I can literally jog from one end of Singapore to the other end, and I wouldn't die. Because we're just 47 km across. That's the widest that Singapore is. So small market, okay? High ARPU, yes, but small markets. But look at the rest, that if you're missing out, if you don't localize. Indonesia, Thailand, they are the largest game market. But less than 10% of the Vietnam market actually speak English. So, but you have to understand that localization doesn't just stop at language translation. You have to know that it also includes your gameplay localization, your UI. Because if you try and translate an English word to Chinese, the space is totally different. Right. In terms of byte, yes, each Chinese character is 2 bytes, right? We all know that. But if you translate a long term, it's going to be half the size. So what you're going to get is you're going to get buttons with half filled. Or in some cases, you're going to get button with words that's more than what it can hold. Number 4. One of the things that I mentioned just now is that there's such a wide range of ARPU, spending power. So you need to cater to these people. So look at some of these ARPU. Average revenue per paying user. Vietnam, huge market. Easily 100 million gamers there. Easily. But they are paying $2. But it's fine. Let them pay $2. Because there's like 100 million of them. Right? Singapore, we only have 5.5 million. Maybe half of us play games, 2.5 million. But it's all right. They pay $100. So if you manage to succeed in terms of monetization strategy, you're going to get a lot of very loyal gamers who will spend half of their paycheck playing your game. Right. So you, knowing all this and comparing against very scientific Big Mac index and all that kind of, mumbo jumbo, you're going to be able to convert payer conversion. Converting payer conversion is a very, very, very sexy thing. Why? Imagine today, you're enjoying of your free-to-play game having paying user ratio of 3%. If you manage to increase that by 1%, your revenue increases by 33%. Think about that. So for the remaining 97 non-paying users that you had from the first place, would you think that if you throw something at them and give them something so sexy and so free of charge, there's 1% of them decides to convert to paying user, your revenue is going to go sky up. It's going to go multifold. So which is why all these are factors for you to take note. Focus on the right market. Like I said just now, do a bit of marketing here and there, do some tests, and then after that, get some results, get some feedback. Okay? So if you want to focus on real monetization, you want them to buy items, you want MTX and all that, go out to Thailand, the Vietnamese, they are very sophisticated gamers. They know how to, if you save them time, buying this save you time by a week, everybody's going to throw their money at it, right? If you just, going to rely on ad revenue, Unity ads, you want them to watch a lot of video and all that, go to the huge market, the Philippines, the Indonesians. There's huge population there of people who are willing to just play the game for the sake of playing games. It's fine. You want me to watch, I will watch. And I'll get a lot of monetization for it. So Android, definitely in Southeast Asia, we have more Android smartphones than Apple phones. Number 7, build and own your communities. Why? Excuse me. In Southeast Asia, gamers move around in hordes. They like to stick around in hordes, led by a leader. There's a spiritual leader who usually is the guy with the biggest wallet. He buys a lot for his guys. It's almost like if you are a gang, but it's just that you're a gamer gang. They move around. We have game leaders, community leaders coming to us and say that, can you give me a special offer on the top-ups and all that? Yeah. I said, why? Because if you don't, then I'll just change to another game. And all my 100 followers will follow me. That is the power they have. So which is why it's very important for you to build your own communities. You know, create a simple mobile game portal that is a primary destination where they can, get all kinds of information related to your games. That's very simple. It's a HTML5 page, right? Build your own game community. There's plenty of forums, plenty of places for you to reach out to the gamers. There's a lot of all this media because practically all the university students, all their end-year project, they tell us, I want to create a game forum, and use this to analyze the social impact that it has on gaming and all that. We have a lot of those stuff. And then you follow the local rules and regulations. You have to understand some of this because the countries like Vietnam, you need proper license for you to go in. Number 8, if you think that, after that 7 tips, Jonathon, you're scaring us. It seems like Southeast Asia is such a scary place. Yeah, should I or should I not exploit this and try and go to the other end of the rainbow? Should I? Right? If you really feel a bit scared, work with a local publisher, right? These guys will be able to help you because in the first place, the first thing you're going to ask for is, can you give me a proposal, right? This is my game. Do you like it? If you like it, can you give me a proposal? So their proposal is going to come, and whether you decide that, okay, this proposal talks about 100 things that I have to do, okay, then you make a decision, right? That's fine. So some of the things that you can actually explore, we try and think of it as a la carte style publishing. The old traditional way of, okay, I need to sign my game away to this big-ass publisher and then exclusive. I have to share revenue with him. I have to sleep with him. All kinds of these kind of things. No, I think that's not very practical nowadays. Indies, you make a game. This is your baby. You spend 6 to 12 months of your life building this thing. You don't want to, just leave it for somebody that you don't trust, right? So in that case, look for a la carte style publishing help. All these kind of things can be done a la carte. I think the publishers in Southeast Asia nowadays, they're getting a bit smarter. Yeah, we need to recognize, that's me talking as a publisher, is that sometimes developers don't need the full suite. They just need certain parts. I just want localization only on the graphics part, just for Thai. I only want some marketing only in Indonesia. Yeah, talk to any of these publishers. They'll be more than happy. Because if they create the good results, then it gives you a lot of confidence in taking the next step deeper with that publisher that's giving you that service. No harm. Everybody wins. And for him himself, that game is getting very good. Apu, he's getting good results. Retention rate, 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, 21 days. They're all there. Then the publisher say, hey, how about I give you some money and then we sign the rights. Yeah, that's win-win for both parties. So what we have done is that we form an alliance. In our 15 years of publishing games in Southeast Asia, we form a lot of friendships with all these guys that are good in their own market. They are really strong. They are number 1, number 2 in their own markets. So these guys, we gather them together and we make them our partners. I think this is a good strategy. We try to not build everything from scratch. Because if I want to proclaim myself as the king of Southeast Asia, it's going to take me maybe 20 years. But if I partner with all these guys, overnight, I'm their business development guy here. I'm selling on behalf of them. Collectively, all these guys, 150 million Southeast Asian gamers in our database. 500,000 retail points across the whole Southeast Asia for your gamers to pay for your games. They cover almost all the marketing channels. Vloggers, blogging channels, YouTube channels, influencers, social media, everything. They cover everything that works locally. So the funniest thing that I have ever met is that when I went with a full, very comprehensive marketing plan for a game, and I bring to Thailand, for example, I gave to the local marketing guy, and he goes like, nah, don't spend on this, no, nah. Struck. And eventually, you still hit your result with half the money. 20 years of local game publishing experience, these guys. You might have noticed that why did we not just go directly to all the payment channel people? Because the game payment channel, the payment gateway people, they are not experienced with publishing. They are not the one who have done publishing before. They are not going to be like, okay, if you want to do some acquisition, you want to do some UA, you want to do some marketing, this is what you should do in each of these markets. So we want to work with these guys who have a lot of strategic value that they can provide to the Unity developers that's using us. And you get access to more than 50 localized payment methods. Okay, number 9, timing is of the essence. Know the holidays. These are all things that will reach your ROI. Know the school periods. When is it school holiday? When is it that they're allowed to go back? When is it exam period? Right? Why is it important for you to know this? It's because if you know when school is off, is when they're not going to get money to spend. They have been using their pocket money that their mom gave them to go to school to eat, but maybe they just have a coffee or maybe just have a drink, and then they use the money to top up. So if it's school holiday, they go back to their hometown, they have no school, they have no income, they're not going to pay for your game. So that's like periods of lull. Cultural, I think last month is the Ramadan period. Yeah, the Muslims are not eating, they're hungry. Some people dispute that this is a sensitive period. Maybe you shouldn't do promotions on this. Yeah. So, but some people are like, no, they have to put their mind somewhere else, right? They're so hungry, Maybe they'll play more games. Yeah. So there's a lot of all these things that reacts very differently, even between Indonesia and Malaysia. Time your IAP promotions. There's 1,001 reasons. Okay, this is like Chinese New Year. All the kids are going to get a lot of pocket money. They call it red packet money. Easily $100, easily $200. If you want half of that money coming towards your game, time it. It's usually within late January to February, right? That period. If you are coming after Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, perfect timing for you to do IAP towards these countries. Local themes, your event. Call it the Indian Deepavali celebrations. Oh, then suddenly all the Indians were like, oh yeah, this game is giving us a lot of respect. Yeah, I like this package. I'm going to pay for this package. It's just very easy because all these information are readily available on the internet, on the Google. So this is the last part. This is the marketing part. So all the things that I've been talking just now is lying towards the last part of what we're doing here at Unite. What we did is that we have consolidated just now the network of the alliance that you saw just now. We consolidated all their payment gateways into one API system, and we have worked with Unity to become their official integrated paying partner. What does this mean? It means that if you right now go to Unity Editor, starting for 5.5, and you choose IAP service under the Android, you will see Google Play Store, you will see Samsung Galaxy, and you will see CloudMoolah. Here, right. So what it means is that it's going to be so easy and so self-serve that if you want to turn on any of that 500,000 retail points for your gamers to pay, you can do that very simply by using the Unity editor. So just to give you guys a quick lowdown on this, imagine you spend $10,000 in marketing. You're very lucky, only $2 CPI, you get 5,000 installed, half of them stays, you get a 5% paying user ratio. You have 125 paying gamers. 3% of them have credit cards. Imagine that only 4 of them decides to pay for a game and have the ability to pay for a game. The potential is $60 versus a potential of 2,500. This is simple maths. It's simple maths. But simply by using all these third-party payment modes using CloudMoolah, you will have access, because every single dollar that you make extra is a bonus. There's no upfront cost. It's totally free to use, right? And we are friendly people, meaning to say if you are interested to know more about this market, we have ice cream at our booth. So please come by later on. We have a lot of ice creams. Popsicle, nice ones. 100% bio. I don't know what it means, but it must be really healthy. So there you go. CloudMoolah is the company that I'm representing. So with one integration, you're going to get all these access points, 6 markets, 500,000, 100 million gamers. And there you go. That's the end of my speech. I hope you find it useful. And I'm serious. Please come over to my booth. We have ice cream for you. Thank you.